All right. We're now going to have Cindy Campbell and Allison Zelenski come up and talk about Farm to School, another project that they're working on with Dr. Flora. You take it away.
Okay, first off,
Yeah, that's
yay, Katie. And also thank you for hosting this for us. This makes it a lot easier to go to a big conference and actually do it, have a nice little practice after. So thank you so much. Today we're going to talk about school nutrition programs and how they relate to food to school, farm to school programs with the Northwest Tennessee Local Food Network. So introduction, farm to school. There's a lot of different programs that are starting to grow, but there's still a lot of general confusion and lack of knowledge from both farmers and schools, and even just the general community and students and parents. The whole goal of the farm to school program is to let more students have a healthier diet and along with the learning experience through meals that they're already having at schools. So the Northwest Tennessee Farm to School program, it's done with the local food network here in Martin. And we work to promote several different farm to school programs in 9 different counties in this area and several different schools within those counties, the high schools, the middle schools, elementary schools. We even have some programs with early childhood development centers as well. We host learning events for both farmers and school nutrition workers. As I said before, one of the biggest issues is just general lack of knowledge. So we'll go into some data we collected later on, but we have hosted events to try to educate farmers and say, look, there's a lot of red tape, but you can do it. And along with food, school, nutrition officers saying, hey, look, like you can use these resources and they're available to you. So the purpose, main 2 points, we're providing fresh local nutrients to students. This not only benefits their health and meals they're already eating at schools. It's a learning experience for them to learn what fruits and vegetables they have in their area that they have procurement of, and a general healthy diet learning. This also benefits local farms. Reliable sales could be tricky, especially for smaller farms. And this also limits potential food waste. So, you have 25 extra pounds of tomatoes. What are you going to do with those? Are they going to go bad? Or can you call the school and say, hey, I've got 25 extra pounds of tomatoes. Would you be able to use them? And it solves both of those problems of having reliable income and food waste. So how does this program work? I've had the opportunity to work not only with the Food Network, but also with farms who do use farmer school programs. So I've seen both sides. The biggest thing, it starts with the farmer. There's a lot of red tape. There's a learning curve here. It seems big and confusing. You're a small farmer and you need to reach out to these schools who need X pounds of this every week. And while that can be daunting, once you get into a schedule, it becomes more doable. Some farmers, depending on what you're producing, a bulk setting is going to be trickier depending on what you're growing. But for many farmers, it is attainable, especially in our smaller schools in the area. It seems like a lot of food to provide for a school. It feels like they're feeding a whole school, but in reality, it's only a side or two, and it's very much attainable for small farms. The third step boils down to the school nutrition officers. They most of their education is in food safety and less so in culinary. So we've been working with several chefs to help teach them how to use, fresh food that they've obtained. So when does farm school operate? Obviously with fresh food, you've got to operate in the season. And when you overlap that with school times, it can be tricky. Some schools have summer programs where they provide snacks, but for the most part, it depends on what you're growing, where you're growing it, and the general season of what you're providing.
All right, so the main project area that we focused on within this project, we used some explanatory studies based around one of the farm to school events hosted in July of this past year. So we were distributing pre and post test evaluations so that the participants of these events could basically rate their overall knowledge before and after the event. So we can spread the literacy over the students and hopefully grow this program as well in the future. Some of the methods that we used to distribute these was to the participating farmers who were willing to work with local procurement to sell some of their produce to school systems. On the school side, we also had some cafeteria managers from schools within Northwest Tennessee, along with diet directors, nutrition advocates, and other community members. So in total, we were able to gather 48 completed responses from this one event. So I'll go more into that now. This is the event that we mainly focused the majority of our research on. It was in Bradford, Tennessee on July 28th. This was an in-person event that allowed community members and farmers and anyone basically interested in the farm to school program to come and learn about proper food safety, local food procurement, and better ways to prepare their food and get it distributed within the community. So here's some pictures from the event in question. Here's a big group of all of the attendees. The chef that they had to help teach these proper food preparation methods is actually sourced out of Atlanta, Georgia. And then there's some pictures of them participating in workshops and learning about safety and food prep. So now I'm going to go into basically the survey data that we looked at. So each one of their survey analysis will have a variety of different statements, and their job is to just rate their overall awareness within these programs. So for the first question, we asked how familiar they were with farm to school concepts, and you can see that the overwhelming majority was not very familiar or only knew the name of farm to school. And so it leaves very, very few that have a little bit of experience, but still better results than we see as we go further. So the next statement was, I'm familiar with the process of procuring from local farmers or selling to local schools. And as you can see, the vast majority is over here with, I'm not at all familiar, so they have not once heard of food procurement or selling to local schools. And the few that are on the other side have tried it once or twice, or there's a very small percentage that's actually successfully done so. And then the next one is, I'm familiar with conducting taste tests featuring local foods. And so as the trend shows amongst this group, the overall awareness was very, very little. So this is basically a summary of what all we had. The majority of school food managers do not know about or how to participate in purchasing from local farms. So this was really a good way for them to network with these local farmers as well, along with just gaining general knowledge. Now they have an element to be able to partake of these methods. The majority of school food managers also do not conduct educational taste tests with local foods in their school. And there is a group of participants that have tried both sourcing from local farms and taste testing, but they've only done it once or twice, and for whatever reason, they did not see that it was fit to continue. So for future implications, we would like to continue these educational events. There was really a lot of success. All of our reports, they always had great reviews. They were looking forward to the next event that the Northwest Tennessee Food Network is hosting. So in these surveys from these events, we'll provide further information regarding emphasis for farm to school and ways to provide incentives for participation. And then here we want to acknowledge the Northwest Tennessee Local Food Network for sponsoring these events and hopefully being able to grow these events in the future.
So in your survey, were you asking mostly the farmers or the school people getting the food?
The school nutrition.
Workers, I guess that part.
They asked the school managers whether they felt comfortable with the safety of food that comes from a local farm or the legal aspects tied to safety, because in the food service industry, we talked about like our campus here, they contract with Sodexo or something, and food that comes through the food service industry that has quality inspections and everything like that, which at a local level, you're never gonna have that.
Yeah.
So is a school legally allowed to actually buy local food or?
This is a federally funded grant, so yes, although we did not have the opportunity to design the survey ourselves, it was put on by the Northwest Institute Network, and then we kind of took it. So I'm not too sure about that, but it is, it's a federally funded grant, so there is, I talked about kind of making the red tape doable, but there is definitely still some red tape that needs to be there for food safety reasons.
On your introduction, one of the things you might want to just mention is talk about the USDA's federal programs tied to farm to school program.
Yeah, I do have, we're also applying for about 4 grants right now, that I'm just waiting for. They're gonna be in there for the actual presentation, but I wanna get like actual numbers.
I'm sure you'll get a question on that.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
So one thing, and really, it's not a question.
Yep.
When you are finishing up the last thing for this, when you finish up the final version of this, make sure that you put in some motivation at the beginning, if we talk about it out there.
Yeah.
But you kind of go right into the discussion without really any introductions or anything.
Yeah.
And I know that you're gonna have people say, what is their credibility, rather than just going right into.
Okay, so we should
explaining
talk about
everything.
like,
Yeah.
like
So-
why we decided to do this. Like I could talk about my
Maybe why you decided to do it,
internship.
and who you are, and where you connect in all of this.
Okay, so just like general, like for students as well.
Yeah, your
Like,
affiliation, and why are we gonna take your number?
Okay,
You mentioned
okay.
it later on.
I
You said,
did.
I worked on this program.
Yes,
and
okay.
everything, but do it first and foremost, so that we're
Yeah.
paying attention right away, because you are experts.
Experts. These random people talking about this, yeah. Okay, that sounds good.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, now we have a couple of weeks off before our next one. If I get it done in time, I'll be presenting on my study of with some students of ice cream prices in Italy.
Oh.
So that will
Are
be
you
fun. I'm
bringing
gonna try
samples?
and bring,
Samples?
I'm gonna try and bring ice
True
cream.
samples from Italy, please?
I wanted this to be the first week, but we had some things happen in the first week of classes that kind of stopped us from having.
I want chocolate gelato from the Buongiorno place in Siena.
I'll
What day
see.
is this again? I need to write that down.
This is gonna be the 23rd.
Okay, 23rd. Just gonna write that down.
Apparently,